Hi students! Today we're going to learn the straight pointy letters in cursive. If you look at our chart, these are my straight pointy letters. I, U, W, T, P, R, S, and J. You can use a whiteboard and a marker, or you may use a notebook and a pen. It's up to you and what you have at home. So let's get started. So the letter I in print looks like this. In cursive, it's sort of a straight diagonal line up to the middle. Then you retrace part of that line and then you go out to make your tail and add your dot. Okay? So I call them straight because they're not as curved as the other letters, but they're a little bit curved. So you make a diagonal line up to the middle here, retrace down to the floor, tail, and dot. So if you made a few I's in a row, it would look like this. And then you would add your dots, dot, 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 dot. And that's how we know it's an I and not a U, which is the next letter coming up. One thing you want to be careful of is that when you make your I, you leave what I call just a tiny little tent. So a one-person tent, not a five-person tent. That is way too big. We don't want to be doing that. All right, so that's not correct. Just a little one-person tent. So if you're noticing you have too much space below here, tighten it up by retracing more of the line. All right? Good, good, good. All right. I want to get rid of the ones that I don't want. All right, the next letter looks just like an I. It's the letter U. So there it is in print. For a U, you make that diagonal line up to the middle, retrace, curve another one, retrace, and stop for your tail. So it's just like making two I's. All right. Up, retrace, stop. So it's got those little points on top. Some people say this looks like an M, like a printed M, but really that might be a little higher like that. So a U uses the whole bottom area. So up, retrace, tail. Two U's in a row. Just kind of keeps going up, doesn't it? The good news is there's not too many words that have two U's in a row. I know of the word vacuum, V-A-C-C-U-U-M. So that's the only word I know right now that has two U's. There may be others, but that's the only one I know of. All right. The next letter is a lot like an I and a U, only you go up 3 times. It's the W. Ready? Here we go. Up, retrace, up. Stay up there and make a bridge. So W is another bridge letter. Up, retrace, bridge. Sometimes I like to say the word W as I'm writing it. W. And there's your bridge. And they call it a double U because it really is 2 U's. U, and then a bridge, so it's a W. If you're making a word that has a letter after the W, like the word we, you got to use that bridge into the next letter. That's the tricky part right there. All right. The next letter is T. And T is basically like a tall, stretched out I. Take a look. Start on the floor, all the way up to the ceiling. Retrace most of it, make that little tent. There's your tail, and cross your T. So the T also has a one-person tent. All the way up to the ceiling, retrace that diagonal line, come all the way to the floor. There's your tail, cross your T. So you don't want to have a 5-person tent, because I don't really know what that letter is. That's not really one of our letters, is it? All right. One fun thing about the letter T is when you make 2 of them in a row, you get to cross them both at the same time. I always liked doing that. So in the word little, L-I-T-T-L-E, now I get to dot my I and cross both T's at the same time. So fun. All right. Let me clear this. We have learned I, U, W, and T. The next letter is a little trickier, but it still starts the same as the I, so it's the letter P. So for P, you go up diagonally to the middle, straight line into the basement, retrace that straight line, curve forward, touch, and out. All right, so up to the middle, straight line, retrace it, curve, and out with your tail. Diagonal lines, straight line into the basement, retrace that whole line, touch the middle, curve forward, and make your tail. Now, one thing about P you need to be careful of is this part right here should be really tight together. You don't want to have a lot of space like that because that kind of creates, I don't know what that creates. It creates something else that we don't want. 2 P's in a row. I, basement, curve forward. There's your tail, right into the next letter. Basement, curve forward. Like in the word happy. I know we haven't learned the Y yet, but that word has 2 P's. All right, the next letters are, and R starts like an I, but then you do this little slide. Slide down just a little bit, and then you curve out for the tail. It looks like a baby C, okay? So starts like an I, slide down a little bit, curve to the C. Let's do 2 in a row. I, slide, curve, I, slide, curve. So a lot of times I see students do this, and it's not terribly wrong, but it really looks better if the slant comes down a little bit. Sometimes it helps to do a little tiny bubble at the top, or a little tiny loop, I should say. So you can go I, little baby loop, slide down, and then curve out. I, little baby loop, slide down, and curve out. So that might help you make your R's a little better because we really don't want that. Okay? I'm going to erase that one. All right, the next letter is S, and S kind of is like an R, only it curves under instead of outward. So you start like an I, start to slide, but then curve under and out. It makes like a little raindrop, doesn't it? So it starts like an I, slide down, curve under and out. So 2 S's in a row, starts like an I, curve under, out. Starts like an I, curve under, out. You have to watch out for the same thing as the P. So starts like an I. You don't want to do that. That's messy. There's too much space in there. So you want to keep it tight together. All right. One more letter in these straight pointy letters, and that is the letter J. Now J uses the basement. You're going to love this one. Starts like an I, goes way into the basement, you loop, and there's your tail, and you dot. Starts like an I, way into the basement, loop, there's your tail, and dot. There you go. You can do a bunch of J's in a row. You'd never see a word that has 2 J's, not that I know of anyway. But it's kind of a fun little pattern to make, isn't it? All right, my dears. So today we learned I, U, W, T, P, R, S, and J. So those are the letters we have learned so far. We only have 6 letters to go. We have M, N, V, X, Y, and Z for next time we meet. I hope you enjoyed this cursive lesson, and make sure you practice writing some words. We can write the word word. There's that O going into a bridge, so you can write some words and make sure you have fun.